Hello and welcome to Accelerate. I am Matt Stone. This is the podcast where we encourage and inspire CEOs, founders, and visionaries on their big leap journeys. We talk about the stories and strategies that will help you accelerate toward your big leap destination with purpose, humility, an open mind, commitment to growth, and recognition that the way we get there is at least as important as where we end up. And I'm so delighted that you've tuned in today. So today, July 7th, 2022, it's a Thursday, and I was listening to an interesting speech this morning in the news. Boris Johnson stepping down as Prime Minister in the UK, and this is not a political, podcast per se, but I was thinking about kind of a lesson in all of that is relevant to making big changes, leading change initiatives, taking big leaps. So Johnson's kind of farewell speech, very glowing, as many politicians will do, talking about all of his accomplishments and how he's been forced out despite the will of the people and all these other things. But the one thing that he didn't mention at all was anything about the reason why his popularity, or one of the big reasons why it seems like his popularity, why it's time for him to go. And it all dates back to, things like having big parties at 10 Downing Street during the pandemic. And whether or not that was the right thing to do, not the point. It was the lack of acknowledgement of what's going on. And I thought about that in the context of leading yourself or leading others through a big leap, a big change. What isn't, you hear that phrase, what gets measured gets managed. I like to think of it like what isn't acknowledged can't be fixed. I mean, I'll tell you what, when I don't want to deal with what I'm eating, then I don't step on the scale. And, I just did a big move, and for a couple months I was enjoying not looking at my weight until my pants got a little too tight. And eventually I was like, look, you got to look at this. You've got to look at the number, because what your brain wants you to think is that everything's fine, but it's not fine now, and that you're going to need to get disciplined again. So, once I stepped on that scale, it wasn't as bad as I thought, and it was definitely worse than it had been. So I was able to start, making the mental changes needed to make the behavioral changes. And I'm still working on that. So I just really want to emphasize that in any kind of big leap, a form of rigorous honesty, at least internally. Now, few of us are out there doing speeches to the world, but we've got to get honest with ourselves. And when we do, we can acknowledge what's real, what's authentic, and to the best of our ability. I mean, there are some things, there are the unknown unknowns. There are the areas of, I don't call it denial, it's just complete, unawareness. So we need other feedback processes and people in place to bring that awareness to the forefront. But there are some things that we all know are true and may not want to look at them. In fact, one of those great questions is, what is it I don't want to think about? What is it I don't want to acknowledge? What is it I don't want to talk about? That will often reveal, okay, that's the thing that I'm trying not to acknowledge. And that's the very thing that often is holding us back. So there's your question for this Thursday, or whenever you're listening to this. What is it that needs to be acknowledged so that it can be managed and dealt with? Or accepted, or accepted. We don't have to manage everything. Sometimes it's just a matter of accepting it, but at least it doesn't become a friction point, a roadblock to reinvention, to growth, to progress, to connection, and to joy and happiness and success in our lives. All right. So again, I want to tease, I'm going to have a great conversation with a big leap success story next week. I don't know the date that I'm going to post that, but we're set to have that conversation on Monday. It's Thursday now, so You can kind of do the math on that. And I want to just thank you for tuning into this podcast again. And I hope this has brought you some inspiration, some information, and I hope that you'll come back and listen again. Hit me up on Twitter at MattStoneCo, at MattStoneCo. Online, mattstone.co, mattstone.co. I have a new Big Leap readiness assessment that we just launched. I haven't announced it anywhere else. But if you want to take a look at, hey, am I ready to take a big leap? Go to my website, mattstone.co, and you'll find it there under readiness assessment. It's free. I think it's pretty fun, and it's a great way to kind of think through some of the key pillars of a successful foundation for a big leap, and hopefully you get some insights from that. So until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye-bye for now.